Of course, the biggest news stories in Star Wars always break when I'm not around, but you know what? I am here now, so let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sector for Nerds. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. If this is your first time here, what's up, guys? Welcome. Happy you could join us today for this nice little chat that we're about to have. Plenty of great content every single week here on the channel, so you guys definitely don't want to miss out on any of it. Okay, so we got to talk about it. Everybody's been talking about it today, so I figure we got to talk about it too. I want to start off by saying this. I will believe this when I see it happen. Like if Star Wars says something or Kathleen Kennedy herself says that she is going to retire, because I feel like we have seen this song and dance before. A lot of people like to just, come up with these random articles and stuff at random times like, oh, Kathleen Kennedy, she's going to retire and all this stuff. But I think this time there might be something to it. So from the Hollywood Reporter here, we are going to talk about this article here, and so it begins. After more than a decade in a galaxy far, far away, Kathleen Kennedy is charting a course toward retirement. The Lucasfilm boss has told associates that she plans to retire by the end of 2025. Source confirmed to The Hollywood Reporter. Puke reported the news Monday night. So we got multiple people talking about this just based on that first paragraph alone. Representatives for Kennedy and Lucasfilm were not immediately available for comment, because of course they usually never are. Kennedy joined Lucasfilm in 2012 as co-chair along Star Wars creator George Lucas, and a few months later took the reins after Disney paid $4 billion for the company and Lucas exited. She relaunched the franchise, beginning with J.J. Abrams' Star Wars The Force Awakens in 2015, which grossed more than $2 billion globally, and reinvigorated the property as a big screen brand. Disney released a Star Wars film every year from 2015 to 2019, and then took a pause following Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, which received mixed response and earned just half of what The Force Awakens had brought in years earlier. Think about where it started when Lucasfilm was bought by Disney, and kind of look at where it is now. And in terms of just like the fan excitement isn't where it used to be. As Lucasfilm boss, Kennedy held one of the most visible and scrutinized jobs in Hollywood, and it was not always the most smooth sailing. She fired Chris Lord and Phil Miller as directors of Solo, A Star Wars Story in the middle of production. The film went on to be the first Star Wars movie to lose money, theoretically. No, it did lose money. Everybody has to stop protecting Solo. Okay, look, you can like Solo all you want. It is fine. Solo lost money. This stuff happens, people. She also sidelined Rogue One, A Star Wars Story director Gareth Edwards, replacing him with Tony Gilroy, who was brought on to oversee reshoots. The film became a $1 billion hit. Other projects were promised that never materialized, such as Rian Johnson's trilogy and another one overseen by Game of Thrones showrunner D.B. Benoff and David West. Daisy Ridley's upcoming return to Star Wars has been languishing in development since being announced to fanfare almost 2 years ago. Okay, does it say anything more about Kathleen, though, and what's going on in this situation? I don't think it is. Okay, so here, I'm going to give my thoughts on this now that I've kind of, we've kind of gone through the news bit and everything that's kind of going on there. All right, let's listen up, people. I understand that there are a lot of people that are very excited by the prospect of Kathleen Kennedy leaving, and believe me, I am too. The problem with this situation is Kathleen Kennedy, in my opinion, should have been fired back in like 2018 after Solo. Like, I know like Last Jedi was bad, right? But if you go from like Last Jedi to Solo and have, in my opinion, two catastrophic failures, first of which in the fact that The Last Jedi completely divided your fan base, and it was really the Kickstarter in terms of like people really not liking Disney Star Wars. All right, that was the start. And then you come out with the next movie that you come out with, a movie that just financially failed, but yet somehow this woman managed to keep her job. I mean, when did Solo come out? Like 7-8 years ago now? She should have been fired then, but she wasn't. And even now, she's not being fired. She's going to retire, meaning that like Disney, no one in Disney saw what she was doing to Star Wars as a bad thing. They just let her keep going with everything that she was doing. So my excitement levels for this aren't as high as they used to be, because I think we are now getting to a point where a lot of people are realizing Kathleen Kennedy isn't the only problem here. Whoever they put in Kathleen's place could be just as bad as her, if not worse. I guess this is a point for Star Wars, like us Star Wars fans, where we have to hope and pray that they put the proper person in this spot that is going to be determined to get Star Wars back on track and to have the love and respect for Star Wars, that the same amount of love and respect that the fans have for it. And they're willing to be able to put focus back into good storytelling and developing great characters, which I think lately has been kind of lacking. And I mentioned it a little bit before too, but when you look back at the fan perception of Star Wars, like look at what it was back in 2015, like when, again, and this is going back to when Disney purchased Lucasfilm. Everybody was excited. Everybody was thrilled. You look at Star Wars now and where a lot of people are now, a lot of people have just walked away from it. I mean, look at all the low viewership numbers for all of these Disney Plus shows that are coming out, all these recent ones. You know, everyone talks great about Andor. Everyone that watched Andor loved it, right? But nobody else watched it except the people that liked it. You know what I'm saying? And you look at the viewership numbers for The Acolyte, again, not really good at all. Skeleton Crew was even worse than that. Skeleton Crew just broke that record in terms of the lowest viewership for a Star Wars show. The fan support isn't there like it used to be. In a lot of fans' minds, they feel like, you know, they've been pushed away, that the content isn't as good anymore. I'll say this much, you guys, like the reason that I'm still here and the reason why I still make videos on this channel and center everything around Star Wars is because I love Star Wars, specifically George Lucas Star Wars, but I nonetheless do love Star Wars. And it is not to say that everything that Disney has put out is bad, right? Like, I really love Star Wars Rebels. It's one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars storytelling ever. I firmly believe that. The Mandalorian was an absolutely phenomenal show. And there's a reason why they're making a movie on it, right? Because they know that a lot of people really like it. That's not to say that everything that they've done is bad, but I will say that, like, the shows and stuff that they have put out over the last couple of years, with the exception of, like, Bad Batch, right, and Tales of the Jedi, but you look at things like The Acolyte or Andor or Tales of the Empire or even Skeleton Crew to an extent, I didn't like. So at the end of the day, if Kathleen is truly leaving at the end of 2025, if this is to be believed, there is a lot that has to be done besides Kathleen just walking out the door and us moving forward with our lives. Like, Star Wars isn't automatically going to come back in the eyes of the people, or what everybody thinks Star Wars is that doesn't happen with Kathleen leaving. There has to be a lot more that happens behind the scenes. Here's a really good example, right? Like, look at the new Daredevil show that's coming out for the MCU, a show that was originally not gonna follow the Netflix show, the one that everybody loved, right? Including myself. And what happened? Disney, Marvel went in and they completely revamped it. Like, halfway through their making the show, they like stopped production, right? And they just pretty much redid the whole thing. And they brought in like a showrunner who was the showrunner for The Punisher, who knows the Marvel Netflix characters and what they're all about. And you brought back all of the actors that were a part of that show as well, right? So you bring back the original cast for like Foggy and Karen and all the side characters and everything like that, right? So what I'm hoping when that show does come out, because I am going to cover it here on the channel, is that it ends up being a really, really good show now because of it. And judging by all the trailers and things like interviews with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, it all looks really good and it all sounds really good. The point I'm trying to make here is that if this show does end up being good, there were a lot of things that had to happen in order for us to get there. And that's exactly, again, what needs to happen with Lucasfilm. This is no longer just Kathleen Kennedy needs to leave Lucasfilm. This is a lot of other people that don't understand Star Wars, that don't understand how to tell good stories. Those are the people that need to go. At the end of the day, like, I don't care who's all involved with Star Wars. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care how not famous you are. I don't care whether you're a male or whether you're a female. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we need people in Lucasfilm that understand Star Wars and know how to tell Star Wars stories, and good ones at that. And I really don't think it's that hard either. And on that note, you guys, that is going to wrap us up for today. So what do you guys think about this whole Kathleen Kennedy situation here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.